That night, she stared straight into my eyes and lied smoothly, steadily, like she'd rehearsed every syllable. It wasn't only the lie itself. It was her tone, the tiny pause before she spoke, the way her eyes drifted past mine instead of meeting them. I didn't challenge her. I didn't press for explanations. I didn't beg for honesty. I simply walked out. Not because I wanted to leave, but because staying meant losing myself while trying to cling to someone who was already gone. I thought that was our ending. And for a long time, it was until she returned carrying tears, remorse, and the truth I had waited far too long to hear. It had started with distance, slow, creeping distance. Replies came late. Excuses grew thinner. Plans fell apart more often than they happened. The woman who once poured her soul into my hands had become a stranger wearing her skin. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she'd flash a too-quick smile and whisper, "No, baby, I'm just tired. You're imagining things." But my instincts screamed otherwise. It's that terrible space where your heart accepts the truth long before your mind will. I lived there for weeks, stuck between doubt and desperate hope. Then came the night everything snapped. She told me she was going out with her friends. Hours passed. Then the whole night, no messages, no calls. When she finally slipped through the door, her lipstick was smudged, and her jacket reeked of a man's cologne. I asked, "Were you really with your girls?" She blinked once and smiled, not nervously, not guiltily, just calmly. "Oh, so you don't trust me now?" That was the moment. That single line. She delivered the lie flawlessly, no shake in her voice, no hesitation. Something inside me quietly gave out. I didn't yell. I didn't point fingers. I didn't break anything. I just grabbed my jacket and walked out. I left her behind. Left the life we built. Left the version of myself who tolerated half-truths disguised as love. Because love without honesty isn't love at all, it's survival. And I was done simply surviving. Within a week, I moved out. No dramatic goodbye, no bitter texts, no blocking, just absence. I expected her to reach out, to explain, to fight for another chance. But she didn't. Nothing but silence. And in that silence, I convinced myself she didn't care enough to stay. Letting go became easier when I believed she had already moved on. Months went by, almost 10. Slowly, I stitched myself back together. I laughed again. Really laughed. I stopped checking my phone for her name. Stopped replaying that night in my head. Life began to feel like mine again. Then one late night, someone knocked. I opened the door, and it was her. She looked exhausted, swollen eyes, slumped shoulders. She held a wrinkled envelope like it carried 1,000 pounds. She didn't say hello. Didn't step inside. She just asked, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I let her in, not out of forgiveness, but because I needed to know why she'd come. She sat on the edge of the couch like she didn't deserve the space. Then she broke. "I lied to you," she whispered. I waited. I wasn't with my friends that night. I was with him. Her voice shook. "I didn't sleep with him, but I let things go too far. And when I saw your face, I panicked. I lied because I was ashamed. I thought telling you would destroy us. But losing you anyway destroyed me." She handed me the envelope. Inside was a letter dated 6 months earlier. "I've written this so many times. I never had the courage to send it, but you deserve the truth." The letter explained everything, how it started, how she felt, and the guilt that ate at her long after I walked away. The silence I thought meant she'd moved on had actually been her way of punishing herself. By the time I finished reading, my hands were shaking. She stood to leave. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," she said softly. "I just couldn't hide the truth from you anymore. You deserved honesty, even if I'm too late." She walked toward the door, and just like the last time, I almost let her leave without a word. But this time, I spoke. "You're right. You lost me the moment you lied. But what you did tonight, that was real." She turned, tears streaming. "So what happens now?" she asked. I looked at her, the woman I once loved deeply, now stripped of excuses and finally honest. "Now," I said, "we heal. Maybe our paths cross again. Maybe they don't. But it starts with truth. She nodded. No pleading. No negotiating. Just a quiet, broken thank you. And when she walked out again, it didn't shatter me. Not like before. For anyone who's been betrayed, the deepest heartbreak rarely arrives loudly. Sometimes the person who hurt you returns, not to repair the damage, but to admit they were wounded too. If this hit you where it hurts, you're not alone. The truth won't erase the pain, but it gives you back your power. And your healing begins the moment you choose